Hi everybody, welcome to Pakistani Profiles. Today I have Anam Mansuri with me. Let's have a chat with her. So Anam, who are you? Describe yourself.
Well, I honestly don't know who I am. I don't think anybody does really, but I'm a little weird. I'm a journalist.
Okay.
I am a food lover.
Okay.
I am Mansuri. Yeah, that's what I am, and by profession, I'm a journalist, but I love what I do. I love telling stories. I love telling people's stories. I think that's where the charm lies in this whole profession for me. It's really cool because when you're a journalist, you have an all-access pass to into somebody's life.
Yeah.
Which is the coolest feeling ever, because you can ask a celebrity something like, so why did that film do so badly, and not get a slap on your face. Why do people think you're such, what do you have to say when people say you're a really bad actress? Okay, like, you don't know them, but you can just come meet a stranger and not have the small talk and not wait for the period where you get to know somebody and just ask them questions.
Cool. Okay, so what got you into the writing profession?
Well, my father has always been in the magazine industry. So, I just grew up kind of knowing that this is what I wanted to do. I always looked up to him. And I've been obsessed with magazines ever since I was a child. And the mix of words and pictures and layouts, and it being such an essential, well, it's not essential, but it being such a cool information guide for people. So I love all kinds of magazines. I'm obsessed with all kinds of magazines. I love men's magazines. I love old women's magazines. I love like sports magazines, everything which has a magazine, I love it. And so, yeah, this is what I want to do, and I want to work for magazines. I want to create magazines, and I want to write for magazines.
Okay. What was your first piece that you wrote?
My first official piece was for Young World, Dawn, and it was a book review, and it was a children's book, and it was a sci-fi book. And now I love sci-fi, but back then I hated it. And I read the book just briefly, and I wrote a review about it, which was like, oh man, this is the most amazing book in the world. Everybody should go read it, because I was so excited that I was writing an article for Dawn. So I don't think the book was as amazing as the review was, but yeah, that was my first article.
Okay. Have you ever gotten a bad review of any of your articles?
Yeah, well, the worst review that well, we don't have reviews, like feedback and comments on some articles have been bad. It started from J school, okay, when I was at NYU for journalism school, and every week we had class and we would come with our article, and we thought it was the most beautiful thing created by us in our lives. It was like our baby. And our professor would get photocopies of it made, and it would be distributed around class. Okay, and everybody would rip on it, okay, and everybody would be like, oh my god, this is such a weird word, how can you use this word to describe something like this, or this is such a weird comment, or why is this quote here, it's so not important. And by the end of it, you're shattered, okay. I would go home and cry, and then after a while I became used to it. But I think this is part of the journalistic process, like an article, editing is an essential part of the article, and at the end of the day, you're not your only editor. You have to give it to people. It's for your readers, right? So everybody's opinion counts, and you should trust your editor enough to know that he knows what he's doing. And then but if you believe in something, then you should fight for it. You should say, okay, I think this piece should be there, this piece that you want to take out, because I feel strongly about it, and I feel that this shows an aspect of the personality I'm covering that, is essential, that needs to be there.
Which makes perfect sense.
Right. So, I think having a good relationship with your editor is very essential, but also standing up for your work and for what you write is important.
Right. Okay. So how do you get over your writer's block? And I bet that happens.
Yes, that happens a lot. See, in journalism, you do have to kind of train yourself to write at any time.
Yeah.
You don't really have a choice because you have deadlines and this is your job. So yeah, there are times when I write a piece and there's no heart in it, because I have to write it. But again, it's all about editing, even if it's a bad piece of writing, and even if you're like, oh God, what the hell is this, right? You can always turn back to it and say, okay, after 1 hour or after 2 hours or maybe tomorrow, I'm going to edit it. And always feel free to change it around as much as you can and build character. I mean, it builds character, it builds the story's character.
Okay.
So yeah.
Who's your favorite author?
Okay, I have so many favorite authors, but right now, right now I'm reading a lot of Daphne Merkin. She's a writer for the New York Times Magazine.
Cool.
And Elle, and she's absolutely brilliant, and she writes about women's issues, and she's amazing. And another writer, Pakistani journalists who I love right now are one Mishail Naik.
Okay.
She's a writer who's just started writing, and she writes about food and pop culture and art and stuff like that. She writes for Yellow magazine, the magazine that I work for. Then there's Nadir Hassan. Okay, he's a political writer, and he reviews movies, and I don't think there are, I think he's one of the best writers in Pakistan. Then I love Mohammed Hanif.
Okay.
He writes journalistic articles as well as books, so I'm kind of obsessed with him nowadays too.
Okay. What would you do if you didn't write?
I would own a cafe.
Okay.
Yeah.
You would go into the cooking field.
Yeah, I love cooking.
Okay.
I don't know if I'll be the one cooking it, but I love. I think I'm a good cook, but I just love the idea of owning a small cafe, a very nice, comfortable, homely, personal space, and just sitting there and watching people come in, enjoy food. I love food. I'm obsessed with food. Enjoy food. Talk to each other, just relax and let go of their worries, and then leave. Yeah.
Coming to that point, do you teach writing?
I do teach writing. Lately I haven't been because I work at this magazine called Yellow. It's all about Karachi. But yeah, I love teaching writing because that's where I meet some of the most interesting people and get to hear some really cool stories, and it just feels really good when somebody tells you that, okay, now I can write a story or an article with confidence, and because I have faith in my writing, and you helped me get there, so it's a good feeling.
Okay.
Yeah.
And let's talk about Yellow.
Okay. Yeah, Yellow is a magazine that I work for. I'm the managing editor for this magazine. It's a great magazine. It's a guide to Karachi, and it talks about food, it talks about fashion, it talks about people, it talks about where to go and all the new stuff that's happening. I'm a real arts and culture junkie.
Okay.
So I love knowing what's happening in the city that I'm living in, and this magazine kind of gets everything together, and we have a bunch of really cool writers, and they specialize in their own little fields. Like somebody covers music, and somebody covers art, and somebody covers food, and so it's all compiled in one issue.